Okay, well, I'm going to sum up what I was saying on my TikTok. That in terms of the whole, I can't go to the store and purchase maybe liquor and stuff. My mom knows I drink, but it goes without saying that respect is the standard. You can't do certain things in front of your parents, especially around about certain ages. It's not to say I'm I'm not I'm not a kid, but I'm still actually my mom's child. You know what I mean? So yeah, there's just certain things you can't do in front of parents. It's a given, you know. And yeah, where the suitor is concerned and someone perceives me as their child, the restriction then becomes my child can't be with such a person. So meaning now they're starting to like take the whole thing seriously that I'm their child in their head, and I can't be associating with a certain guy. They don't know what dues you've paid for whatever. They don't want to know anything of that. They disturbing. It's not enough. They're invasive. They're disturbing the flow of life, and now your life looks very 2D. There's no. It seems like there's no 3D. There's no excitement to it. It's just one dimensional, and in the end, you look like a complete bore, really. And sure, man. So yeah, power talk, ne? That leads me to the topic of power talk. So, to sum up the whole experiences of what I I encountered, and like in turn, the lessons I gathered from my experiences was that I'm being caught by power. Like I said, if you have someone who's like powerful or who's doing something like in apprenticeship and they're paying you, you're not gonna speak to them anyhow. Others, like depending on your kind of character as an individual, others may take that bold step. Sometimes it's a character thing. It's not about being brave. You may take that bold step. Others will be impressed by, whoa, I'm taken aback by. I don't get that often that someone is able to stand up to me knowing very well who I am. And others, it might be a complete offense. Like they'll be literally offended, and we don't want to speak about where it could go where power is concerned. So you with power you need to like tread very carefully. So basically I'm courted by different PowerPoints, different people with powers, or PowerPoints people that are connected to powers, right? And it happens when I least expect it. They are communicating. This is how power communicates. You know what I mean? We've heard that saying, Gastwana, or how they say it in our native languages. You can translating it sounds a bit weird, but it says sometimes God does not give you with a hand, but He can kick something to you. Meaning, some power work like that. I'm connected. I'm the power. So if I'm gonna give you what you want, be glad that I'm gonna get you where you want. But if I'm gonna treat you like this, you're not gonna question me. That's how others. And it becomes very challenging when you are educated and you know your rights. When you don't know your rights or don't know anything about rights or anything concerning that, man, you're gonna take it, whatever. This is an opportunity. You're hungry, and depending on your background as well, you're hungry, you're going after this, whatever you have to enjoy, you taking it as it comes, right? And then I go back to a scenario I recall in the Bible where about the woman at the well who meets Jesus, and Jesus tells her about her different husbands and stuff like that. Like for many years, I mean, it's very natural that you think of it as like the woman is just married, but for that woman to be at that place in the point in time, I'll put probably the scripture down below, because I don't recall exactly the scripture, but I do know the scripture does exist in the Bible. For the woman to be where Jesus was at that very timely time, and for Jesus to be there and to know information about that woman, there's something about the meetup of the two that is saying that they both on the frequency of power. That woman is connected, and Jesus was able to know who she's married to, not just the marriage we think of, but this woman clearly associates with a certain kind of affiliates, the elite types of connections. And it seems like she's seeking to add power to her powers, but even the talk, I mean, the way Jesus spoke, the woman could have literally taken her jar or whatever she had and literally just ignored Jesus and be like, what's he on about? But there was a certain kind of power talk that was happening there, and they understood each other. They were on each other's frequency. There's a certain kind of talk where power is concerned. I had to learn it, I had to learn it because I've been through a phase where I was going, like I always say, I was going through a lot. Just like now, I'm expressing myself and I'm putting it out there, and I don't know who I'm helping, and I'm bringing so much clarity to so many people that I'm encountering certain moments that I was not even aware. Certain moments where I'm courted by power or PowerPoints, and I kept missing it until it had to dawn on me personally that, babe, you actually courted by power. And although it may seem like very advantageous, it's tricky, it's risky. You have to be very careful. You cannot be too excited for such moments. You have to take the moments in and actually just be grounded to make solid, concrete, reasonable, calculated risks going forward. You don't just accept whatever comes by. And so, yeah, it gets very tricky. So, like I said, like as I was saying with the woman, there's a certain kind of talk. Like, if you can go back to the scripture once I put it up, there's a certain kind of talk, man. This is not just any talk. And with Jesus, he's like, there can be a connection, right? Like he's also somehow proposing a connection, but right at the end. But before he proposes the connection, it was a matter of, I'm aware that you connected to such and such and such, and you've been with such. And the thing is, you remember with Jesus Christ, when something happened in the Bible or someone complaining about what was happening back at home, he told them to leave the problems or to leave the dead where the dead is, to follow him. Meaning Jesus, and we also get the scripture that says God is a jealous God. With Jesus Christ, he wanted complete power, but he was aware that I'm now going to have to share my sense of authority with the rest that you had. Meaning, even if the proposal came at the end, there was still, I mean, there was not doubts, but it was not preferable that that connection should happen, because that woman was already married. And what are you seeking to add more to yours? I'd rather go for someone who does not have, who's nothing, so that when I make something of them, then they acknowledge, because right now, if that woman's life had to change, they might acknowledge that, okay, I've never experienced this before, maybe it's because of that guy I met at the well. But many would want to take credit because now we've always been there. Maybe it was just a phase and a season, maybe we sent you there. And it's the same thing with power. Like I always say, power connects you to more power. I mean, the woman, many people could have been there, but that woman knew that I have to sort or seek after this person or something of that sort. I mean, not everything is explained in detail, but it seems like the meetup was very intentional, and there was a knowledge of the meetup, or there was an expectancy to meet someone at the well. And we just don't know this power, the dynamics to it. But if you can do an in-depth study, and maybe could make like further sense for you. But it's power talk. There's just something about power when it's communicating. It's not in a not so obvious way. And so the thing is, like I say, these kind of things are tricky. Like I said, there's a standard measure that people go through when meeting power. And what happens, sometimes it depends on you. Sometimes you could just honestly say, not now. In the most respectable of ways, some PowerPoints in this case may think, but it's like, there's something you have not. Others will get it and be like, she's not yet, or he's not yet hungry for success. He's not yet hungry for success, right? And then they let you be. And they tap into your life in a season where they feel like you're ready. Others will be like, really, you're wasting my time. Time is money. You don't understand. You have not come to understand the dynamics of money and time and how they work. And they will excuse themselves from you. And what's worse, sometimes others can even spread if they desperately wanted you. And maybe when you think you still have to become, but when they see are. You are in the now. It's not that you need to become. I see that I can work with this. If I can take my time off my busy schedule, I'm losing money, but I'm trying to make money. I've seen that you're capable of. And then you back such a person down. It could go as far as them just tarnishing your name like that, because that's how sometimes power gets angry. But in my case, I've had that season. I'm over it. I don't think it can ever happen again. But those are the dangers. And if you're working, you can get blacklisted. There's so many things you can think of. And then sometimes the very same thing that I just explained, the consequences could happen on a good note. When someone is so obsessed with you, they could literally want to take you off the market and really stamp on you their name, their signature, you're theirs, and you are complaining, but someone is like, hey man, you're working for me. And I don't think, with what I've seen with you, I don't think I want anyone. I am not confused about you. Like when people feel like I've met, but the problem is communication. Communication. Imagine having met such a PowerPoint who's just totally excited of you, but still that there's no communication. And they're going on and on about you, and you're not aware. You're not aware of this whole situation. You are not aware. That's the worst thing, when power is like obsessed with you. And but there's no paper, man. There's no paper, meaning there's nothing that confirms anything to anything. That's where the problem is. When power is obsessed, can also be a problem. It can also be a huge a huge problem. So the other time I was talking, I don't know, I think someone in my family, just randomly, I was talking about power. Guys, let me you could call it a schooling session. These are like nuggets of wisdom for years. Because once you can, power goes so far, it can go generationally, right? So we want to make sure that when we do connect to powers or PowerPoints, that we are well schooled on this, and we have understanding on what we're doing. Ne? Like I say, let's say you're at a point in time in your life, you need structure, you have clarity, you need structure of how or what you want, but you need guidance, a guiding structure to getting or obtaining what you would want. Okay, this is how you're going to go about it. From, like, let's say, okay, maybe you're a student, or you're done studying and now you want to become such a thing. Others get it from different point of views. Like a point of experiences, like if they graduate with a cum laude, they're going to get bursaries, or obviously that, and it's in connection to work or certain office space. They already connected. It's what they do, it's what they want, it's what they studied for. There's no need. Others, it's right away. Others, they never understand the dynamics of these things. They go through the whole motion of life. They go through the ebbs and flows of just going through experience that they experience through power, but they never understand what they're really going through. But that's the thing. Once you don't have that and you need that, you need to just align with someone. I don't prefer that thing. I have a friend can hook you up. It's better when you have someone who's been through that experience personally, who's personally achieved that, and you can go to them in connection to what you want, and probably they have a family structure that you want. Many people are doing this, so you have to be aware of the certain key details. Is this person alone? Is this person having kids, a family? Are they single or what? Depending on the scope of what you want, go for that. And you're sure that they're in this very work department or working field, you go to exactly that person. You don't And that's the thing. If you have kids or you planning to have kids, when you have kids best, they'll know that even if you have to go through certain challenges, they'll be sensitive at the mirroring reflection of what I see in my own home, like my own kids. This child could remind me of my own, so let me be sensitive and such. I want not those PowerPoints that you meet and you feel like they want to just take from you, and they just want to take and they sort of take. I mean, you've literally lost close to what, 5 plus 10 plus people in your family, and you feel like they just want to take, you know and you don't understand on the basis for they don't say I want to take. Like, you just go through pressurizing points of pressure. They're not communicating clearly, so it could read as many things. But if it's in a very aggressive manner, you could think that maybe it's time to lose someone again, even if it's not the case. But you have not come to understand what exactly it is they're communicating, how they're communicating. That's how you know that you're connected to a power that you're not directly talking to. So they're expecting you to understand, and if there's a middleman, they're expecting that the middleman has delivered the message. But you find that the middleman is like, I ain't saying that. And that's because the middleman is just taking for themselves. So you are connected to a PowerPoint that's not serving you. That's what it boils down to. There's so much to say on this topic. I have things in mind. I forget. I'll probably have make a part 2. If you want a part 2 of this and you find this information to be very useful, of much guidance, and whatever you feel it is or it does for you, that is great. That adds weight to your life. That could make a difference in your life. Like, you could request for a part 2. So for now, I've got a lot in mind, but it's just not coming out. And so yeah, with power, we need to treat it very carefully. As you can hear the word power, immediately when you think about currency that's flowing in a house, there's certain voltages that volume or yeah voltages the volume of the current flowing, that there's certain voltages that are restricted to the flow of the connectivity of how the circuit of a home. It's restricted immediately when it goes up. You know what I mean? So, like, what I'm saying is that people are now, there's an excitement, there's a bit of knowledge on power, but now there's an over excitement on power, and people aren't careful. You understand? And like I said, the manner in which we mingle with power affects those we live with. That's why if you're gonna go for a direct power, let's say you've never known who your family's power is directly, it is always advisable that you move out and then connect to a different power. Because if you're gonna bring new power into the home, it kind of ruined the dynamics of how the home was being managed, whether those powers were evident or evidently managing the whole situation or not. Immediately there's a different pattern, it's going to take the parents off. That's why I always say avoid getting parents into things that in their age it's just a no-go area. Taking them off. It's always best to dabble with power. Other power points, you can be in your parents' home and then immediately you dabble in such powers with them, then they probably have added benefits that allow you to move out. But it's always advisable, and I always say it also with the whole moving out, it's 2 is better than 1. I always say this, 2 is better than 1. But hey, we could have friends, roommates. It's not always supposed to be the opposite sex. So till next time, I think that should do for now. I was inspired and I had to just put this out before I forgot what I wanted to say, because you have inspired moments and then you're like, Konja, what was I supposed to speak about? So yeah, I hope that was of much help and will be of much help to anyone who comes across this video. Play it safe with power, people. Power, if connected right, if the connection is right, could do wonders for you. But if not understood, you could harm yourself badly. And going back to the point of I think I'll do that next time. But yeah, careful.